The tropical forest of northern Australia. The air is thick and humid, but that doesn't matter. In the center of a small clearing lie large, dark green eggs. There are several of them. Not one, not two. Because here, no one relies on a single chance. Here, life begins with multiple attempts. Nearby stands a male cassowary. He hasn't moved for a long time. He barely eats. He doesn't leave. His task is simple and heavy at the same time. To wait. The shell of the first egg cracks sharply, as if something inside struck with full force. A small head appears. The chick doesn't wait. It immediately tries to break free, pushing, falling to its side, getting back up again. Nearby, the other eggs begin to crack. There are many for a reason. In this forest, too many never make it to adulthood. The chicks appear one after another, striped, clumsy, with thin legs that seem unable to hold their bodies. They bump into each other, get tangled, fall. One freezes in place as if unsure what to do next. Another immediately starts walking forward, without choosing a direction. Among them, there is one that never stops. It has just emerged from the egg, but already moves further than the others. Its legs slip. It falls face first into the damp ground, quickly gets up, and moves again. It doesn't wait for the world to make sense. It moves as if everything depends on it. The male makes a sharp movement of his head. The chicks freeze. But not this one. It comes closer, almost reaching the adult's foot. It pecks it, too hard for something so small. The response comes instantly. A light but precise push throws it aside. It flips over, lies there for a second, then stands again, and moves again. The other chicks have already begun to stay close together. They instinctively gather into a small group. It's safer that way, easier to hide. But this one keeps moving ahead, as if it doesn't feel any boundaries. It pecks at everything. Leaves, sticks, stones. Swallows what it shouldn't. It coughs, shakes its head, but continues. Mistakes follow one after another, but none of them make it stop. Suddenly, a sharp movement in the grass. All the chicks freeze at once. A small body slides between the roots like a snake. Danger is too close. One of the chicks moves and instantly becomes the target. The snake lunges. Everything happens fast. The male rushes forward. A strike of his foot, heavy, precise. The snake is thrown aside, writhes, and disappears into the grass. The chicks huddle together. All except one. It stands slightly apart. It didn't run. It looks at the place where the danger just was, takes a step forward, and again receives a push from the male. This time stronger. It falls, but doesn't get up right away. A second passes, then another, as if thinking. Then it stands and moves closer to the others. But even now, it doesn't press into the group. It stays nearby, just a little ahead. The day continues. The chicks begin to move after the male. He walks slowly but confidently. They follow, stumbling, falling behind, catching up. Some quickly grow tired and stop. This one doesn't stop. It speeds up, catches up, overtakes, ends up ahead again. Sometimes it even loses sight of the others. It pauses, looks around, but doesn't return right away. It tests the forest, its taste and its strength, and the forest responds. A thorny branch catches its side. It jerks, gets tangled even more. A few seconds of chaos. It struggles until it frees itself, steps away, pauses, then goes right back to the same place. It doesn't learn from the first time. It needs to try again. The male gives another signal, sharp, short. The chicks gather. This one arrives last, but not because it is afraid, because it got distracted again. They find their first berries. The male pecks the ground, showing them. The chicks repeat. Some take time to understand. This one grabs a berry immediately, swallows it, then another, then a third. It doesn't check. It just eats. A few minutes later, it begins to act strangely. Stops, sways, takes a step and nearly falls. It chose the wrong berry. The male reacts again, comes closer, nudges it, forces it to move. Movement saves it. Gradually, it recovers, stands there breathing heavily, but more stable now. It remembers. But not everything. The sun drops lower. The forest changes. The sounds shift. The shadows grow longer. The chicks move closer to the male. Night here is not just darkness. It's a time when mistakes cost more. This one steps slightly ahead again. It doesn't know what exactly has changed, but it feels it. Takes one step, then another, then suddenly freezes. Somewhere ahead, a quiet rustle. It doesn't run. It takes another step, and in that moment it becomes clear. In this forest, no one will stop it at the right time. No one will explain where the line is. Every decision it makes will be its own, and it will be the one to pay for it. The tropical forest of northern Australia does not become gentler the next day. It simply continues to test everyone inside it. The small, striped body no longer looks as helpless as yesterday. Its legs are steadier, its steps grow longer. But that is only on the outside. Inside, there is still chaos, decisions made too quickly. The male cassowary moves forward without looking back. He does not check if the chicks are following. He knows the rule. Those who cannot keep up disappear. The chicks try to stay close. They gather into a tight group, almost touching each other. This is how they avoid getting lost. This is how they reduce the chance of becoming someone's prey. But one moves ahead again. It has already learned that movement gives an advantage. It speeds up, tries to run, and suddenly it works. Not for long, not smoothly, but it works. It even passes the male for a few steps. That is a mistake. A sharp sound from above. Something heavy drops from a branch right in front of it. It breaks abruptly, its feet slipping on the damp ground. It falls forward and freezes. In front of it, a thick branch twists. No, not a branch. It moves too fast. A snake lifts its head. The chick does not step back right away. It tilts its head as if examining. Takes a small step closer, a second. The snake lunges, but the strike misses. The chick jerks back at the last moment, falls to its side, rolls and jumps up. Now it does not think. It runs. The male is already there. A heavy step, a strike. The ground trembles. The snake disappears into the leaves, unable to withstand the impact. The chick stops only after several meters. It breathes heavily. Its head jerks, its eyes dart. It looks back and takes another step forward. The male catches up and sharply pushes it aside, stronger than before. Not a warning, a limit. The chick falls, but this time it does not resist right away. It lies there a fraction longer than usual. Then it stands and for the first time stays behind. Not for long. Within minutes, it is beside them again. Then to the side, then ahead. The day grows hotter. The humidity presses down. The chicks begin to tire, their movements slow. They stop more often. Some sit right on the ground. Not this one. It keeps going even as the others slow down. It starts testing everything again. Leaves, roots, pieces of bark. It pecks quickly, almost greedily. And another mistake. This time it grabs an insect. It moves too much. The chick swallows it, but immediately begins shaking its head. Sharp. Too sharp. It stops, opens its beak, tries to get rid of it. It cannot. It begins to panic. Jerks around, runs in circles, stumbles. The male approaches quickly. Another push, forward again. The chick is forced to move despite the discomfort. After a while, it passes. It survived again, but now it begins to choose more slowly. Not always, but more often. The forest changes as they move deeper. The roots grow thicker. The ground becomes uneven. Every step requires attention. One wrong angle and a fall. It falls first. At speed, its foot catches on a root and it flies forward, rolls, hits its side. For a few seconds it lies still, then suddenly jumps up, looks around as if checking whether anyone saw, and runs again. But now it lifts its feet a little higher. It learns but through impact. At some point it moves too far ahead again. The others fall behind. The male does not speed up. He does not follow. The chick is alone. At first, it does not seem like a problem. It keeps moving, exploring, pecking. Then it stops. Silence. Too quiet. It turns its head. Then again. Takes a step back now. It is not looking for food. It is looking for movement. It begins to walk faster. Then runs. Turns sharply. Stops. Runs again. Panic comes suddenly. It makes a short sound, then another. No answer. It speeds up even more, almost losing control of its body. Falls, gets up, runs again. And then it hears it. A short, low call from the male. It freezes, turns its head in exactly the right direction, and runs toward it. When it returns, it does not move ahead right away. It stays within the group, almost touching the other chicks. But it does not last long. Within minutes, it is ahead again. The sun lowers. The forest changes again. Shadows deepen. Sounds grow heavier. The male slows down. The chicks move closer. It steps slightly ahead once more. It hears a rustle, this time closer, quieter, more dangerous. It takes a step and does not immediately realize that this time there is no one close enough to stop it. He takes a step and hears nothing behind him. No heavy footsteps of the male, no movement from the others. Only the quiet rustle ahead as if pulling him forward. The small body tenses. His head stretches out. He takes another step. The grass parts slightly. A muzzle appears. Small, fast, with narrow eyes. Not a snake. Faster. The lunge happens almost without a sound. The chick jerks aside, but too late. Stranger's teeth almost touch his feathers. He falls, slides across the damp ground, and at the last moment slips out of the attack's path. Now he is not exploring. He runs, fast, too fast for his still weak legs. He does not choose a path. He simply moves away from where he just was. Behind him there is movement, not as heavy as the male, lighter, persistent, a chase. Hiresco changes direction, almost falls but keeps balance, slips, claws at the ground, accelerates again. He does not think. His body does everything on its own. A sharp turn, another one. The rustle behind grows closer, then farther, then close again. He cannot keep the pace. His legs begin to fail. He stumbles and falls onto his side. This time he does not get up immediately. A fraction of a second. But it is almost enough. The predator is already there. And in that moment the forest seems to explode with a heavy sound. The male cassowary appears suddenly, as if rising from the ground. A strike of his foot lands not on the target, but on the ground beside it. But it is enough. Loud, sharp, intimidating. The predator jumps back. It does not leave right away. Circles, evaluates. The male steps forward, then another. That is enough. The chase ends as suddenly as it began. The chick is still lying there. He does not move for a few seconds, as if checking if it is safe. Then he jumps up and runs closer to the male. Now he does not move ahead. He stays close, almost pressed against him. But it lasts only until the next interesting movement in the grass. He gets distracted again, takes a step to the side, and again, a little farther than needed. The forest does not change. It simply offers new situations. They keep moving. The chicks are no longer as chaotic. They begin to repeat the male's movements more precisely. They stop faster. react to signals almost instantly. He reacts too, but always with a delay. He acts first, then thinks. Because of that, each of his days is fuller than the others. He finds berries again. This time, he does not grab the first one he sees. He watches what the male does, waits a second, then pecks, eats more slowly. A pause, another berry. Nothing happens. He remembers, but nearby lies another one, brighter, larger. He looks at it longer, takes a step, grabs it, swallows, and again feels his body behave strangely. He shakes his head sharply, steps away, almost falls. Now he does not panic as much as before. He has experienced this already. He starts moving on his own without a push, slowly at first, then faster. It passes. He stands again and returns to searching for food. He does not stop making mistakes. He just recovers from them faster. The day grows longer. They cover more distance. The chicks begin to keep up better. He starts not only to run, but to calculate. Sometimes. He sees a route ahead and jumps over it, barely slowing down, then immediately trips over the next one. Balance comes in bursts. At some point, he is ahead again. But now, sometimes, he stops on his own, waits, listens. This is new. He lifts his head, measures the space around him. Silence. He takes a step, then another, and suddenly stops, not because he saw something, because he felt it. To the left, in the grass, it is too quiet, too careful. He does not go there. For the first time, he goes around, makes a curve, and returns closer to the group. The male passes that place without reaction. The chick looks there for another second, then moves on, but not as confidently as before. Something is changing. He still moves ahead more often than the others. But now, sometimes, he chooses not to move, and that new choice becomes the hardest one. He doesn't go where it is too quiet. For the first time, he turns back on his own, no push, no signal. He makes a small circle and returns closer to the others. His steps become more careful, but not slower. Inside, a pause appears before action. The pause doesn't last long. Ahead, something flickers, fast, chaotic. Something small jumps between the roots. He accelerates again, almost forgetting everything he just learned. One burst, then another, and he is already close. The small creature suddenly changes direction. He tries to follow. His feet slip, his body tilts, he almost falls, but recovers and continues the chase. This is no longer fear or defense. It is an attempt to catch. He makes a sharp leap forward, almost gets it, almost. The creature disappears into a narrow gap between the roots. He crashes into the same gap, gets stuck with his chest, struggles, tries to push through. It doesn't work. Frustration hits. He strikes the root with his beak, again and again. The root doesn't move. He freezes for a second, then gives up and steps back. Now he doesn't just look. He remembers the distance, the width, the barrier. He turns and walks back, not running, walking. But as soon as he returns to the group, he starts moving faster than the others again, as if calmness is only a temporary mistake for him. The male cassowary keeps the same pace. He does not speed up or slow down for the chicks. He just walks. The chicks adjust. Some begin to fall behind. One stops more often, sitting straight on the ground, breathing heavily. Another starts walking in zigzags, unsure of direction. He doesn't do that. He gets tired, but he doesn't stop. His movements become slightly less precise, but he keeps moving forward. And because of that, he ends up farther than all the others again. This time, farther than before. He doesn't notice how the sounds of the others fade, doesn't immediately realize he is alone. He stops only when it becomes too quiet. He raises his head, turns it sharply, listens. Nothing. He takes a step back, then another, then begins to move faster. He already knows what this means. He makes a short sound, uncertain. No answer. He speeds up, Turns sharply, almost falls, but holds himself. Another sound, and again, silence. Now he is not just searching. He is afraid. His movements become sharp. He doesn't watch his steps. He almost crashes into a root, jumps over it at the last moment, slips, but keeps running. And then he hears it. A short, low call. He freezes, turns his head. Exactly. He runs toward it without stopping. When he returns, he crashes straight into the group, almost knocking over one of the chicks. He doesn't stop, pushes through them, and only then slows down. Now he stays inside, breathing heavily, looking around. For a few minutes he does not move ahead, but the forest throws something new again. A fruit falls from a branch. Large, heavy. He reacts first. A quick dash. He is already there. Pecks, tries it. The taste is new. He swallows a piece that is too large. It gets stuck. He jerks his neck sharply, opens his beak, tries to force it down. It doesn't work. Panic returns. He starts moving faster again, like before, almost running without direction. The male approaches and pushes him, stronger than usual. The chick is forced to move, to swallow, to keep going. After a while, the piece goes down. He stops, breathes. Now he doesn't grab large pieces right away. He pecks smaller ones, but still faster than the others. The sun begins to drop. The forest changes again. Sounds grow deeper. Movements become more careful. The chicks gather closer. He is slightly ahead again, but now he stops more often. Listens. Sometimes he even returns on his own, without waiting for a signal. These are new movements. Not fast, not obvious, but important. He hears a rustle again, this time to the right. He turns his head, takes a step, stops, another step, and again a pause. He doesn't move immediately. He waits. The rustle repeats. Closer. He takes a sharp step back. And at that exact moment, something fast bursts out of the grass, striking the place where he stood a second ago. He doesn't run. He already moved earlier. He looks at it for a long moment, then turns and walks back to the group. But now his steps are different. He still moves ahead more often than the others. But now, sometimes, he goes ahead not to try, but to check. And that changes everything. He moves ahead differently now. It's no longer just motion. It's a check, a step, a pause, a look. It's as if he begins to hear the forest before it moves, but it doesn't make him careful for long. Ahead, something moves again, this time slowly, almost invisible. Something crawls along a root, blending with the ground. He doesn't notice it right away. At first, he passes by. Then he stops, turns back, tilts his head, takes a step closer. Another one. He doesn't rush anymore. He reaches out with his beak more carefully, almost touching, testing. The creature jerks suddenly. He jumps back faster than before, but he doesn't leave. He circles, comes from another side. Now he tries to catch it. A quick strike, almost. He misses and pecks the ground, lifts his head, tries again, misses again. Frustration builds. He starts moving faster, sharper, losing that pause he had just begun to learn. And in that moment, the creature responds. A strike, not forward, to the side, right into his leg. He jerks sharply, jumps in place, tries to shake it off, hits his foot against the ground. A second of chaos, then it's over. He stands still, breathing faster, looks at his leg. It hurts. He takes a step, a slight limp. Another step. He doesn't stop. But now his speed drops. The male cassowary keeps moving, as always. Not faster, not slower, not looking back. The chicks follow. He falls behind. For the first time, not because he got distracted, but because he cannot move faster. He speeds up, trying to catch up. but his steps are uneven. He stumbles again, falls, gets up, keeps going. He already knows he cannot fall behind. He does everything to close the distance. Gradually, he gets closer again. Not ahead, inside. Now he stays among the others longer than usual, not because he wants to, because he has to. The forest keeps shifting around them. Sounds change, a crack somewhere, a rustle, a short call. He reacts to everything, but now he doesn't go there. He watches, stops, sometimes takes a step back. This is new, a limit. He tries to speed up again. It works worse than before. He moves faster than the others for a short time, then slows again. His body can't keep up with his habit of pushing forward. Frustration returns. He moves sharper and stumbles again. Falls harder. This time he stays on the ground a little longer. Gets up slowly. Looks at his leg. Takes a step. The pain is still there. He keeps going. The sun climbs higher. The heat grows. The air becomes heavy. The chicks stop more often. So does he, but not because he is tired. Because he has no choice. He stands, listens. Now he hears more. Small movements, distant steps, soft shifts in the grass. He doesn't go there. He chooses to stay. For the first time. The male slows down. The chicks gather closer. He stays near. Longer than before. But when they start moving again, he tries to go ahead once more. A few quick steps almost works. Then the pain returns stronger. He stops, looks ahead, looks at the male and follows him, without overtaking. For the first time, he doesn't try to be first. They enter a part of the forest where the ground is softer, deeper. Their feet sink more. For him, it's worse. Every step takes more effort. He begins to fall behind again. The distance grows. He pushes forward with everything he has, almost loses balance, but keeps going. He catches up, and at that moment a sharp sound echoes ahead. Not a rustle, not movement, something loud. All the chicks freeze. He freezes too, lifts his head, listens. This time he doesn't step forward right away. He waits. The sound comes again, deeper, heavier. He stays where he is. And for the first time, that decision feels easier than moving forward. He stays in place, and for the first time, it doesn't feel like losing. His body doesn't rush forward. It holds. The second stretches longer than usual. The sound ahead comes again heavy, dull, as if something large is moving through dense ground. The chicks gather closer to the male. He moves in too, not crashing in, not pushing through, just stepping beside them, breathing quieter than before. The male cassowary doesn't speed up. He takes one step, then another, slow, steady. They move toward the sound. Before, he would have run ahead first. Now he walks within the group, but his head is still stretched forward. He watches, listens, catches every movement. An open space appears ahead. Small but brighter than the rest of the forest. The ground is torn up, roots pulled out. He stops, at the edge. Doesn't step in right away. Watches, only then takes a step. The ground is soft, too soft. His foot sinks deeper than expected. He pulls it out sharply, steps back. Another step, this time more carefully. He doesn't rush to the center. He moves along the edge, circles it. He lowers his head, pecks at the ground, tests. The taste is different. He digs with his beak, finds something beneath the wet soil. Small, alive. A quick motion. He catches it, swallows, and freezes. It's the first time he has caught something on his own, not by accident, not because it happened to be there, but because he searched. He tries again, digs deeper, slower, with pauses. It works again. He eats and doesn't rush. But the forest never lets anything last long. A sudden movement on the other side of the clearing. He lifts his head, sees it. A large body moves between the trees, not fast, but too heavy to ignore. He doesn't go there, doesn't even take a step. He stays, watches, until the movement disappears. Only then does he lower his head again, but now he raises it more often, checking. They leave the place. The male moves on, the chicks follow. He doesn't stay behind. Before, he would have. Now he goes with them. But after a while, he speeds up again. Habit is stronger. He moves ahead by a few steps, then more. He feels it again, that sense of freedom. He accelerates. And at that moment, the ground beneath him disappears. He doesn't see the edge. His foot slips into a narrow gap between roots. His body moves forward, but the leg stays behind. A sharp pull. He falls, hard, chest, side, head. He tries to stand immediately. It doesn't work. His leg is stuck. He jerks, harder, even harder. Panic returns instantly. He struggles, trying to break free, but only makes it worse. Then he stops, for a second, breathes, looks at his leg, and for the first time he doesn't pull right away. He slowly shifts his body, changes the angle, pulls his leg not upward but to the side. The gap releases him. He pulls free, jumps back sharply, stands, breathes, looks at the place where he just was, takes a step forward, stops, goes around it, moves on. When he catches up with the group, he doesn't crash into them. He slows down in advance, blends in, walks beside them. But inside, he is still the same. After a while, he begins to speed up again, moves ahead once more. But now each burst is shorter, each step a little more precise. He hasn't stopped being the one who goes first. He just sometimes stops before it becomes too late. And for now, that is the only thing keeping him in this forest. He moves ahead again, but not as far as before. His steps are short and quick. His head moves more often now. He doesn't just look forward, he checks the sides. Left, right, forward again. The forest grows denser. Branches hang lower. The space narrows. Moving fast becomes harder. He still accelerates. A branch catches his shoulder. He jerks free and keeps going. Another branch, he lowers himself, almost brushing the ground with his chest, but doesn't stop. He tries to run where he used to walk, and almost falls again. This time he holds himself, but slows down on his own. Not for long. Ahead, a narrow passage appears between the roots. Dark, deep. He stops, looks. Before, he would have gone straight in. Now he steps aside, goes around. But after a few meters, he comes back to the same place from another angle. He can't just leave it. He approaches again, reaches with his beak, tests. Silence. He takes a step inside. One, then another. The darkness thickens. Sounds fade. He hears only himself, his breathing, the scrape of his feet on damp ground. Another step, and suddenly something shifts right in front of him. He doesn't see the shape, only movement. A sudden strike forward. He jumps back faster than before, pulls himself out of the passage in one motion, slips, falls to his side, but gets up immediately. This time he doesn't return there. He goes around, without trying again. This is new. He keeps moving, but now he watches such places more carefully. He begins to recognize the shapes of danger. Not the threats themselves, but their outlines. They move on. The male cassowary keeps the same pace. The chicks align behind him. He is ahead again, but not far, close enough to return in a single move. He tries to speed up again. His legs are stronger now, his movements more precise. He makes a short dash forward, then stops, listens, steps back slightly, then forward again. This starts to look like testing the path. He notices movement above, not in the grass. higher. He lifts his head, too late. Something drops almost onto him. He jumps aside, falls, rolls, gets up, looks up. Nothing there now. Only branches. He stands still, breathing, then takes a step back. Another, and only then moves forward again. He no longer watches only the ground. Now, sometimes he looks up. They reach an area where the ground is firmer, easier to move. He accelerates, stronger than before, almost returns to his old pace. He moves ahead again, this time farther. But now he stops earlier, turns, waits. The male comes closer. He moves forward again, but doesn't go too far. At one point, he notices something new. Not movement, a trace. On the ground. Deep. Not his. He stops, lowers his head, pecks beside it, runs his foot along the edge. The mark remains. He steps back, looks in the direction it leads, and doesn't go there. He goes around. The decision comes easily. Too easily. He no longer tries to test everything. He begins to choose, but the habit is still there. A few minutes later, he sees movement again and takes a step forward, but not the second one right away. First, a pause, and in that pause, more is decided than in all his fast rushes before. He pauses, and in that pause, something happens that used to outrun him. The movement ahead becomes clearer. Not just a rustle, a direction, a rhythm. He doesn't rush. He shifts to the side, one step left, another. He goes around. Only then does he move closer, from a different angle. The grass parts. A body emerges, long, flexible. But now he isn't standing in front of it. He's to the side. The creature strikes where he would have been a second earlier. Empty. He doesn't run. He takes another step back, and another. Distance. Now he chooses space instead of speed. The creature doesn't continue. It leaves. He stays, watches, then turns and walks back to the group. No panic, no sudden rush. This feeling stays with him longer than usual, but the forest doesn't let it settle quietly. They reach a place where fallen fruit lies scattered. A lot of it. Different sizes, a strong smell. He speeds up. Again. He almost forgets everything he just did right. A quick dash forward. He reaches the food first, grabs, swallows, more. Too fast. He doesn't look at what he takes. He just eats. And again, his body responds. Too sharply. He stops. His head jerks. Inside, everything feels heavy. He takes a step, then another. But his movements are no longer precise. He slips back into the same mistake. The male cassowary approaches and pushes him sharply, stronger than usual, doesn't let him stop. The chick moves, at first resisting, then faster. Gradually, his body returns to normal. He can move again. He stops, looks at the fruit, approaches. But now he pecks slowly, takes small pieces, waits, checks. He doesn't refuse food, but he changes how he takes it. And this stays. They move on. The sun is higher now, shadows shorter, sounds drier. The forest grows louder. He is ahead again. But now he looks back more often. He begins to track not only himself, but the distance to the others. If it becomes too great, he returns on his own. No signal needed. It happens quickly, almost unnoticed. He moves ahead, looks, comes back, then forward again. This is no longer wandering. This is work. At some point, he notices movement again. But this time, it's different. Slow, heavy. He stops earlier, looks longer, and doesn't go. He steps back, immediately. No need to test. He has already seen enough. He turns and walks back. But the forest shifts again. Ahead, a patch of water appears, a small pool, but deep. The surface is still. He approaches, looks. Before, he would have stepped in. Now he lowers his head, touches it with his beak. drinks, then steps aside, goes around, doesn't enter the center. And in that moment, the surface explodes with movement. A sudden splash, right where he could have been. He jumps back, but doesn't run. He is already not there. He watches for a long time, then steps away, moves on. Now his movements are not slower. They are more precise. He still moves ahead more often than the others. But now every step is a choice, not always the right one, but no longer random. And that is what begins to change his chances of making it through each new day. He moves forward, but no longer breaks too far ahead. The distance to the male stays within a single step back. He feels it almost physically, like an invisible boundary behind him. The forest grows drier. The ground is firmer. His feet no longer sink. Moving becomes easier. He accelerates, a short burst, then another. He almost returns to his old speed, the same speed that used to lead him into every trap. But now he stops on his own, abruptly, without any visible reason. He just feels it, turns his head. Nothing to the left, nothing to the right. Ahead, quiet. He takes a step and freezes, because the silence becomes too even. He steps back, and at that exact moment, something bursts out of the ground right in front of him. Fast, empty, without direction. If he had taken one more step, he would have been right there. He stands still, watches, longer than usual, then turns and walks back to the group. He doesn't run. He walks. When he returns, he doesn't crash into them. Doesn't move ahead right away. For a few seconds, he walks beside them, then begins to shift forward again. The habit remains. But now it breaks against pauses. They keep moving. The male cassowary holds the same pace. He does not change. Only the chick does. The chicks around him grow calmer. Their movements are predictable. They get distracted less. He is still different, still faster, but now his speed is interrupted by decisions. He notices a branch lying across the path, not high, but awkward. Before he would have crashed into it. Now he slows, looks, steps over it, almost without error, then immediately speeds up and catches on the next one. He falls, gets up quickly, looks at the branch, and goes around. He does not make the same mistake twice in a row. They reach an area with less cover. The space opens wider, more dangerous. He feels it. He doesn't speed up. Instead, he stays closer to the group, looks back more often, listens. He notices movement far ahead, very far. Almost impossible to see. He doesn't go there, doesn't even take a step. He just remembers the direction and avoids it. The male passes the same way, without reaction. The chick looks in that direction once more, then moves on. The sun climbs higher. The heat presses down. The air grows heavy. The chicks stop more often. He slows down too, but not from exhaustion, from calculation. He distributes his movement, a quick burst, a pause, another burst. He begins to move in waves. This lets him stay ahead without losing control. At some point, he notices movement again. Fast, sharp, too familiar. He takes a step forward, stops, another step, another pause. He approaches at an angle, not directly. He no longer goes into the center. He moves along the edge. The movement in the grass shifts. He steps back, and at that exact moment the strike passes by. Empty. He doesn't run. He stays, watches, then turns, and leaves without trying to catch. For the first time, he refuses. Not because he can't, but because it isn't worth it. The decision comes easily, too easily. But not everything becomes simpler. They move on. And suddenly he accelerates again, sharp, without reason, just because he can. He moves ahead farther than he planned, too far. He doesn't realize it immediately. Stops, looks back. The group is farther than usual. He takes a step back, and in that moment he hears a sound, not ahead, behind. He turns sharply, and for the first time finds himself between two directions, both demanding a choice. He turns sharply, and for a moment his body freezes between two decisions. Ahead is empty and safe, but far from the others. Behind is a sound that could mean danger, but that's also where the group is. He does something he has never done before. He doesn't run right away. He steps to the side, moves out of the line between those 2 points. Shifts. Another step. Now he is no longer directly between them. He is at an angle. The sound behind repeats. Faster. Closer. He doesn't go toward it. He moves forward, but not straight. In a curve. He begins to move in a way that shortens the distance to the group without returning to the same line. It's difficult. He almost loses balance. Turns too sharply, his feet slip. He drops to a knee but gets up immediately and keeps going. Now he can hear the male cassowary, a deep, short call. He moves toward the sound, but not in a straight line. Another turn. He reaches the group from the side, doesn't crash into them, doesn't push through. He blends in, breathing fast, looks back. The sound is gone. He stays within the group for a few seconds, then begins to move forward again, but slower now, as if testing whether he can go ahead again. He takes a step, stops, listens, only then takes the second. It takes time, but it gives control. They move on. The forest changes again. More fallen trees. The space breaks into short sections. He moves ahead, but now he often stops before each new stretch. Looks. Moves. Looks again. He notices a place where the ground dips slightly, almost invisible. He stops, pecks at the edge. The soil is softer. He goes around. The male passes nearby without changing pace. The chicks follow. He watches them pass. No one sinks. But he still goes around. This is no longer reaction. It's a choice made in advance. They reach a fallen trunk, tall. For him, almost like a wall. He stops, looks, tries to find a way over. Steps closer, jumps. Not enough. Slips, falls back, gets up, tries again. Still doesn't work. He freezes, looks along the trunk, moves to the side, finds a lower point, steps over. No jump needed. He doesn't return to the first spot. He moves on. It's faster. He is ahead again. But now his movements are no longer sharp. They are precise. He doesn't lose speed. He adjusts it. At some point he hears movement again. But now it's above. He raises his head earlier, stops, looks. Something drops from a branch. He is already shifting aside. Not abruptly. In advance. The object falls where he would have been. He doesn't even speed up. He just keeps moving. This is no longer chance. They come out into a more open area, more dangerous. He feels it. He doesn't go far ahead, stays closer, but still slightly in front. He notices tracks, old, deep. He stops, looks along them, takes a step, pause, and steps back. He doesn't go there, doesn't even try. He already knows enough. He returns to the group, but not fully inside. He stays at the edge, between leading and staying close. And at some point he understands. You can go first, but you cannot go blindly. And that changes every step he takes from then on. He stays on the edge, not inside the group, not far ahead. In that space where every move can still be undone, where there is time for a pause, the forest thickens again. Branches hang lower, the air grows heavier. The space breaks into short sections where every step is a choice of direction. He goes first, but now it isn't a rush. It's a chain of small decisions. Step, pause, a glance to the left. Step, a glance to the right. He notices a narrow path between the roots. Before, he would have taken it immediately. Now he slows down, approaches at an angle, tilts his head, listens. Silence. Too even. He steps back, goes around. A few seconds later, a sharp movement bursts from that same path. Empty. Without direction. He is already not there. He keeps moving, without speeding up. It starts to feel like a habit. He notices a falling leaf before it reaches the ground. Looks up, a small step to the side. The leaf lands where he would have been. He doesn't stop. He keeps going. The male cassowary walks behind at the same steady pace. The chicks stay closer together. He is still different, but no longer out of place. He sees food again, several fruits beneath a tree. He speeds up, slightly, stops at the edge, looks, takes one, waits. His body stays calm. He takes another, a small piece. Pause. He no longer swallows everything at once, but nearby lies a large fruit. Too noticeable. He reaches for it, takes it, tries it, and for a second forgets. Too large a piece. He freezes. His jaw struggles. He doesn't run, doesn't panic. He just stands there, swallows slowly. A longer pause. Then it passes. He steps back, looks at the fruit, and walks away. Leaves it. This is new. They move on. The sun is high now. The air is heavy. Sounds become rarer, but louder. He is ahead again, but now his movement is almost silent. He lifts his feet higher, places them more carefully. He doesn't catch on every branch. He starts moving as if the forest is already familiar. But he still makes mistakes. He sees movement to the left, too sharp. He takes a step forward, stops, a second. He takes another step, and in that moment the movement comes straight at him. Too close. He doesn't fully get away. Something brushes his side. He jumps back, falls, gets up quickly, looks. The creature is gone. He stays, breathes, watches that spot for another second, then steps back and goes around. Now he remembers not just the place, but the speed. He begins to feel how fast danger can appear and how early he needs to stop. They reach an area covered in wet leaves, slippery. He takes a step. His foot slips. He almost falls, but shifts his weight in time, slows down, moves more carefully. The chicks behind begin to slip. He looks back. For the first time, he stops, waits until they cross the difficult ground, then moves ahead again, but slowly. He doesn't pull them forward. He adjusts to the surface. This is a new level of movement. Not just for himself. They reach a place where a faint sound of water can be heard. He stops, listens, moves closer, slowly. Not straight to the center. He sees a narrow stream. The water moves. He doesn't step into it. He drinks from the edge, takes a step along it, checks the depth. Only then crosses. Quick, precise, without stopping. He no longer goes where he doesn't understand. First, he makes it clear, only then does he pass. When he reaches the other side, he doesn't speed up. He waits, turns his head, watches the others cross. Only then takes another step forward. Now he is still the one in front, but no longer the fastest, the most attentive. And that begins to change not only how he moves, but how long he can remain in this forest. He moves ahead again, but no longer breaks away. He keeps a distance he can close in a single dash. His steps grow softer, almost silent. He lifts his feet higher, places them more precisely. No longer catches on branches, no longer crashes into roots. But the urge to speed up is still there. A short burst. Pause. He looks, moves on. The forest ahead grows darker, not because the sun is gone, but because the canopy closes in tighter. Light barely reaches through, the air is cooler, but heavier. He slows down on his own, listens. In that quiet, a faint sound appears, not sharp. Continuous. A soft friction. He doesn't go straight. He shifts, one step to the side, another. He goes around the area where the sound comes from, and in that moment, right where he would have walked, something long and dark shifts suddenly. It slides forward and disappears. He doesn't stop for long. He made the decision earlier. He keeps moving. The male cassowary behind holds the same pace. The chicks become steadier, their movements more predictable. They make fewer mistakes, but none of them move as far ahead. He is still in front, but now his movement is a route check. He notices a patch where the ground is slightly darker, barely visible. He stops, looks, pecks at the edge. The soil is softer. He steps back, goes around. When the male crosses that spot, his step remains firm. He doesn't sink. The chick watches, understands the difference in weight. He remembers. They move on. The sun begins to lower. The light softens. Shadows stretch longer. The forest changes. He feels it. He no longer accelerates without reason. He keeps a steady pace, sometimes moves slightly ahead, stops, waits, returns. This becomes a rhythm. He notices movement above, but not sudden, slow. He lifts his head early, shifts. A heavy fruit falls from a branch. It misses him. He is already not there. He doesn't even speed up, just keeps walking. They reach an area filled with small sounds, rustling, cracking, quiet shifts. Before, he would have checked everything. Now he moves along the edge, doesn't enter the center. He watches the chaos, but doesn't become part of it. This is a new choice. He begins to choose where not to be. And it saves energy. They come to an open space, small but without cover. He stops, looks, doesn't step out first, for the first time. He waits until the male comes closer, only then takes a step, walks beside him. Not ahead. He feels the space, the openness. He doesn't accelerate. When they cross, he moves ahead again, but only on the other side. As if he shifts the point of control to where cover returns. This is already strategy. They move deeper, and suddenly he hears a sound, very quiet, but not random, rhythmic. He stops, turns his head, listens. The sound repeats, behind, but closer than it should be. He turns sharply, and for the first time he doesn't immediately understand what is happening, because the sound is not one, and he no longer has time to decide which direction is safer. He turns and hears two rhythms at once, one closer, sharp, broken, the other farther, heavier. They don't match. They don't offer a simple choice. He doesn't run, he shifts. One step to the side, another. He moves out of the line between them, places himself not between the sounds, but beside them. Now one stays behind him to the left, the other ahead to the right. He moves in a curve, not straight toward the group, but along a path that avoids both directions. It's slower, but cleaner. He hears the male cassowary's call, short, low. He moves toward it, but not directly. Another turn. He almost slips on the damp leaves, but holds himself. He reaches the group from the side, doesn't crash in, stops beside them, breathes more evenly than before. Looks back. The sounds fade. First, the closer one, then the distant one. He stays within the group for a few seconds, then slowly begins to move forward again. But now his steps are even shorter. The pauses are longer. He doesn't rush to regain his old distance, as if testing whether he can lead again. He takes a step, listens, another step, only then moves a little ahead. They continue. The light begins to change, softer. Shadows stretch, edges blur. It becomes harder. He doesn't understand it right away. At first, he speeds up, habit, then stops abruptly, because the boundaries are less clear. He lifts his head, looks longer, before taking the next step. He notices a thin branch he would have missed before, stops, steps over it, and immediately catches on the next one, almost invisible. Falls, gets up quickly, looks at the spot, moves on, but slower now. He begins to account not just for movement, but for visibility. A new limit. They reach a stretch of water, not a puddle, a narrow stream, but deeper. The water moves quietly. He stops, looks at the surface, too smooth. He doesn't step in, moves along it, searches, finds a place where the current is faster. There, the bottom is closer. He steps in, crosses quickly, doesn't stop, gets out, looks back, waits. The chicks follow. Some step into deeper parts, almost lose balance. He watches, remembers. When they gather again, he moves ahead once more, but doesn't speed up right away. Keeps a steady pace. The pauses remain. He notices movement ahead, but it's faint. He doesn't react immediately. First, he listens, then takes a step aside, goes around. Only then looks. The movement is gone. He moves on. He begins to understand that not every movement needs to be checked. It saves time and energy. The sun is almost gone. The forest changes again. Sounds become rare, but each one louder. He stays closer to the group, not out of fear, because it's easier to control everything at once. He still moves ahead, but only slightly, as if drawing the path and then returning. At some point, he hears a sound again, very quiet, almost invisible. He stops, listens, and doesn't take a single step, because now he knows sometimes the best step is the one not taken. He stands still and doesn't take a single step. The silence around him grows dense, not empty, but filled with something unseen, already close. He doesn't try to spot it. He waits. 1 second. Another. Only then does he slowly shift to the side. Not back, not forward, sideways. He moves out of the place where the sound was aimed at him, and in that very moment the grass cuts with a sharp movement. Fast, empty, without direction, like a strike into a point where he no longer stands. He doesn't run. He keeps moving. But now his steps are even shorter. The pauses are longer. He doesn't rush forward again. He stays close to the group. The male cassowary walks steadily, as always. The chicks follow. But he no longer just follows. He tracks. He notices how the ground sounds beneath his feet, where it is softer, where it is firm. He chooses the firm ground. He notices where the leaves lie too evenly. He avoids it. He begins to see not the dangers themselves, but their signs. They move deeper. The light nearly disappears. The forest darkens. Shapes blur. He slows down. A lot. Speed no longer gives an advantage. Now, hearing matters more. He lifts his head higher, stops more often, listens longer. He notices that sounds arrive with a delay. He waits for them to repeat. Only then does he move. He is ahead again, but only by a few steps. That is enough. He notices a patch of ground that looks flat, too flat. He stops, pecks at the edge. The leaves shift underneath empty space. He steps back, goes around. When the others pass nearby, he is already ahead, but he looks back, watches how they cross. No one sinks. He moves on. He notices movement above, very faint. He doesn't jerk his head up. Slowly. Looks, shifts aside, something falls. He is already not there. He doesn't speed up. He just keeps moving. This becomes his way. They reach a place where there are almost no sounds, none at all. That is worse than noise. He stops, listens, nothing. He doesn't go first. He waits. The male comes closer. Only then does he take a step, walks beside him. Not ahead. He feels that here he cannot lead. They cross this area slowly, no sudden moves. When the sounds return, he moves ahead again. but without sharp bursts. He keeps a steady pace. He notices movement, faint. He doesn't go toward it. He goes around. He no longer checks everything. He chooses. With every step, with every sound, with every pause. He is still the one who moves first, but now he moves as if he knows any step could be the last. And that is exactly why he keeps moving forward. Night does not arrive suddenly. It seeps between the trees. The light doesn't disappear. It weakens, thickens, clings to branches, then fades. He feels it before he sees it. His movements slow on their own. He no longer moves ahead. He stays close, not because he is tired, because distance no longer gives an advantage. The male cassowary stops, abruptly, without warning. All the chicks gather closer. He does too, but not in the center. He stays at the edge of the group, where he can hear farther, where there is space to move. They are no longer walking. Now they must wait. At first, he doesn't understand. He tries to take a step. Immediately, the male's head snaps sharply. He stops, stands still, listens. The forest at night sounds different, slower, deeper. Every sound stretches longer. He catches a faint movement to the left, turns his head. Nothing visible. He doesn't go there. He stays. Time passes. He doesn't move. This is harder than running. His body wants to go, but he stands. Sometimes he shifts his feet, slightly, then freezes again. He hears steps, very quiet, too soft, not like the ones from daytime. He doesn't search with his eyes. He just listens. The steps pass by, very close, but not toward him. He doesn't move. Even when they are almost beside him, he feels tension run through his whole body. But he doesn't break. The steps fade. Silence returns. He stays. This is the first night, without movement, without mistakes, almost. After some time, he hears another sound, this time from above. He lifts his head, too sharply. A branch cracks. Something falls. He jumps aside. Too late. A light brush across his back. He darts away. Falls. Gets up. Looks. Nothing. He moves back closer. Slowly. Now he lifts his head differently. Not sharply, with a pause. He learns even here, even while standing still. The night stretches long. He doesn't know how much time has passed. He just stands, listens. Sometimes he closes his eyes for a second, then opens them immediately. He doesn't fall fully asleep. Too early. Too dangerous. The first signs of light come quietly. The sounds change, become faster, sharper. He feels it before he sees it. He takes a step, small. The male doesn't stop him. He takes another. The forest returns. Day begins again. And with it, movement returns. He moves ahead once more, but not like before. He doesn't run immediately. He walks, listens, stops, and only then accelerates. He has become faster, not because of speed, but because he now knows when not to move. Morning doesn't bring relief. It simply brings movement back. Sounds grow sharper, shorter. The forest breathes fast again. He moves ahead, but without sudden bursts. His steps are steady. The pauses remain. He feels hunger before he sees food. This is new. Before he ate when he found something. Now he searches. He moves a little faster, getting a few steps ahead. Stops, listens, lowers his head to the ground. There is something here. He pecks. Nothing. Shifts half a step. Pecks again. There, small, alive. He catches it, swallows, and immediately looks for the next. He doesn't rush. He checks the spot. Another one and another. He stays here longer than usual, but doesn't go deeper. He keeps to the edge. The food runs out. He leaves without extra attempts. This is no longer greed. This is calculation. The male cassowary walks behind. The chicks follow. He is ahead again. But now he isn't just first, he is finding the path. He notices a patch where the leaves lie differently, too even. He stops, looks, doesn't approach, goes around. A second later, something moves there. Quick, empty. He is already farther ahead. He walks and begins to notice the rhythm of the forest, where movement is random and where it is too precise. He follows the random, avoids the precise. They reach a place with fallen fruit. Before, he would have rushed in. Now he slows, approaches from the side, takes one, waits. Nothing. Takes another. A small piece. Pause. He eats, but keeps control. Suddenly, a sharp movement nearby. Another chick rushes to a fruit. Too fast. It collides with him. Falls. The fruit rolls away. He doesn't chase it. He steps back. Watches. The other chick keeps going. No pauses. He remembers. And leaves. The food remains. But he leaves. This is harder than taking it. They move on. The sun rises higher. The heat returns. He begins to move in waves. A burst. A pause. Listens. Another burst. He saves energy. He notices movement to the right. Fast. He takes a step forward. Stops. A second. He doesn't go further. He waits. The movement strikes where he would have been. Empty. He has already shifted. He doesn't react. He keeps moving. He begins to trust the pauses. They reach a place with dense roots, intertwined, difficult. He slows, looks, chooses a path, moves, doesn't catch. Almost. His foot slips. He falls, gets up quickly, looks at the spot, moves on. But now he lifts his feet higher. That stays. He changes his movement to match the ground, not the other way around. At some point, he hears a sound again. Deep, not like the others. He stops, listens. The sound repeats. Slow, heavy. He doesn't go there, doesn't even shift. He waits. The male comes closer. The chicks gather. They stand. The sound passes. He remains, watches, then turns, moves on. He begins to understand. Not everything needs to be avoided. Sometimes you simply don't move. He moves ahead again. But now it isn't about being first. It's about controlling the path. He walks, listens, chooses, and with every step he becomes the one who survives, not because he is faster, but because he understands sooner where not to go. He moves ahead, but it's no longer a burst. It's a line he leads. Short steps, long pauses. He listens more than he looks. The forest grows louder, but not clearer. Hunger returns faster. He feels it. He doesn't wait. He starts searching in advance. He notices a spot where the ground is slightly raised. Not much, but different from everything around it. He stops, pecks. At first, nothing. He shifts half a step, pecks again. There, a small movement beneath the soil. He pulls it out, swallows. He doesn't leave immediately. Searches nearby. Finds another, and another. He doesn't move on while the place still gives food, but he doesn't go deeper. He stays at the edge. Then he leaves. On his own. Before everything is gone. It saves time. He is ahead again. But now his movements are quieter. He places his feet more carefully. Less sound. He begins to understand that sound is also a trace. He moves where it is quieter. He notices a patch of dry leaves, goes around it, moves along damp ground. Quieter. The male cassowary walks behind him, steady as always. The chicks follow. He doesn't lead them, but they move along his line. He notices movement ahead, very faint. He doesn't go toward it. First, he shifts, then approaches from the side. Looks. The movement disappears. He doesn't check further. He leaves. He begins to refuse what isn't necessary. They reach a patch of water, not flowing. Still, the surface is smooth. He stops, looks, doesn't drink right away. He takes water from the edge, small sips, waits, nothing. He doesn't step deeper. He goes around, and at that moment the center of the water breaks with a sudden splash, sharp, empty. He is already not there. He keeps moving. He doesn't speed up. This becomes normal. He notices a shadow, not movement. A shadow. It shifts wrong. He lifts his head, looks up, holds, only then takes a step. He moves out of that place early. Something falls from above. He is already to the side. He doesn't react. He already changed his path. They move on. The sun presses harder. He slows down, not from fatigue, from precision. He takes fewer steps, but each one is exact. He notices roots, complicated. He doesn't go straight. He moves in a zigzag, but in advance, not at the last moment. He passes through, almost without mistakes. He falls once, but gets up quickly and doesn't repeat it. At some point, he hears a sound again, very quiet, but too even. He stops for a long time, listens. The sound repeats. He takes a step back, then another, and goes around, without checking. He already knows. They reach a more open space. He doesn't step out first. He waits. The male comes closer. Only then does he move. Beside him. They cross. He moves ahead again, but only on the other side. He shifts control to where there is cover. It becomes a system. He notices a track, fresh, deep. He stops, looks along it, doesn't go, doesn't even try. He chooses in advance. He moves on. And with every step, he becomes not the one who reacts faster, but the one who understands earlier where he will not step at all. He moves ahead, but not because he wants to be first. He simply feels earlier where it's possible to go. It becomes almost a habit of the body. A step comes only after a pause, but this time the pause is longer. The male cassowary slows down, almost imperceptibly. The chicks begin to gather closer. He feels it before he understands it. He stops, looks back. The male gives no signal, no push, no acceleration. He just walks more slowly. It's strange. He takes a step forward, stops, looks again. The other chicks begin to stay closer together, almost touching, moving like one body. He doesn't move inside, he stays at the edge, but now he doesn't go ahead. He waits. And for the first time, this waiting isn't about danger, it's something else. They move on, slowly, very slowly. The forest around them is the same, but the movement inside the group changes. The chicks no longer run after the male. They walk beside him, sometimes even pass each other. He notices this. He takes a step forward, too, not like before. No burst, just a little ahead. And the male doesn't react. No push, no signal. He takes another step, looks back. The male keeps walking, but doesn't speed up, doesn't pull him back. He just walks. This is new. He moves forward again. A little farther. Stops. Waits. No one stops him. He goes farther. Now he is not just ahead. He is separate. He hears the group, but no longer feels them near. He stops. Looks back. The male doesn't speed up. He doesn't even lift his head. He just walks and passes by. Past him without stopping. The chicks follow, one by one. No one stays. He stands there, watching. They pass and do not return. He takes a step forward, then back, forward again. He doesn't understand at first. He makes a short call. No answer. He steps toward them. They are already farther. He speeds up, but stops, looks ahead, then back. He is between two choices, and this time there is no signal to guide him. He takes a step into the forest, not toward the group. He walks, alone. At first his steps are quick, Then they slow. He listens. Now everything is different. There is no background sound of the group. Every sound stands alone, louder, closer. He stops more often, listens longer. He makes his first choice without support. He notices movement, doesn't go, goes around. He hears a sound, doesn't check, waits. He finds food, takes it, but doesn't stay. He doesn't know the limits. He creates them himself. He moves on, stops, listens, takes a step. And in that moment, it becomes clear for the first time every decision now is his alone. And if he makes a mistake, no one will push him, no one will stop him. He lifts his head, listens, and takes the next step with no way back. He takes a step and immediately feels the difference. Before, there was always a sound behind him. Light, constant, almost unnoticeable. Now it's gone. Every step he makes stands alone, clear, louder than it should be. He slows down, too loud. He lifts his foot higher, places it softer, tries to move differently. It doesn't work right away. He catches a dry leaf, a sharp crack. He freezes, listens. The answer doesn't come immediately. Silence. He moves on. Slower. He begins to choose the surface, avoids dry patches, walks where the ground is damp. Quieter. He notices, remembers. He no longer just moves forward. He builds a path. He hears movement to the left. Before, he would have checked. Now he stops, listens, for a long time. The movement repeats, not toward him. He doesn't go. He waits. The sound fades. He moves on. He begins to save not only energy but mistakes. He notices berries, a few. He approaches, takes one, waits. Nothing, takes another. A small piece. Pause. He eats, but doesn't stay. He leaves before the place becomes risky. He decides the moment himself. He moves on. The forest feels larger, not because it changed, but because there is no longer a boundary behind him. He becomes the boundary. He notices a track, fresh, deep. He stops, looks along it, listens, nothing. But he doesn't go there. He makes a curve, goes around, longer, but cleaner. He begins to choose the longer path over the direct one. He hears a sound behind, sharp. He doesn't run. He steps aside, another step. He moves out of the line. The sound passes by. He stays, watches, then continues. He doesn't check. He already chose. The male cassowary is no longer there. No signal, no push, only his decisions. He notices water, a small pool. He stops, looks, approaches from the side, drinks, slowly, with pauses. He doesn't step deeper. He goes around, and in that moment, the water shifts sharply in the center. He is already not there. He doesn't react. He keeps moving. This becomes normal. He moves on. The sun presses down. He slows. Not from fatigue, from calculation. He takes fewer steps, but each one is precise. He notices routes, complex. He doesn't go straight. He chooses his path in advance, moves through, almost without mistakes. He falls, but gets up quickly and doesn't repeat it. He hears a sound, very quiet, but too even. He stops, listens, for a long time. He doesn't move. The sound repeats. He takes a step back, then another, and goes around. He doesn't check anymore. He avoids. He moves on. And with every step, he becomes not the one who simply reacts, but the one who removes the possibility of mistakes in advance. He is no longer the chick who moved forward because he didn't know. Now he moves forward because he understands where he must not go. He moves alone now, and there is no longer a pause to check it. This is no longer a moment, it is a state. No sound behind him, no movement beside him. Only his steps and the forest that no longer belongs to anyone else. Hunger comes faster. He feels it before his body weakens. He doesn't wait. He begins to search, short bursts of movement, a stop, listening, then forward again. He notices a patch where the ground is slightly raised, not much, but enough to be different. He approaches, pecks, nothing. He doesn't leave, shifts, pecks again. There, a small movement beneath the surface. He pulls it out, swallows, doesn't stop, searches nearby, finds another, and another. He works the place while it gives, but doesn't stay too long. He leaves before the sound around him begins to change. He decides the moment himself. He moves on. The sun is higher. The heat presses harder. He slows down. Not because he is tired, because now every mistake costs more. He hears movement ahead, deep, not sharp. He stops, listens, for a long time. The sound repeats. He doesn't go, doesn't even shift. He waits. The movement passes. He remains, then moves on. He chooses not to engage. It saves energy. He notices water, a small stream. He approaches. From the side, drinks, slowly, with pauses. He doesn't step in. He goes around. He no longer tests depth with his body. He tests it with distance. He moves on. And then he hears it. Steps. Not light, not fast, heavy, slow. He freezes, lifts his head, looks, and for the first time he doesn't step back immediately. He stands, listens. The steps come again, closer. He takes a step to the side, not back, sideways. He moves out of the line and stays, watches. From behind the trees a shape appears, larger, taller, heavier. Not random movement. Another adult cassowary. He doesn't run, not immediately. He stands, 1 second, 2, watching. The other stops too. They stand, a distance between them, small, but enough. He takes a step back, slowly, without a burst. The other does not move. He takes another step, and another. He doesn't turn his back. He retreats, keeping his gaze. And only when the distance grows wider does he turn and leave. Fast, but not in panic. He doesn't return. He makes a curve, avoids the territory, longer, but safer. He understands. Now there are boundaries, not only the ones he feels, but the ones already taken. He moves on, and begins to move differently. He no longer just avoids danger. He avoids conflict. He notices tracks, fresh. He doesn't check. He leaves. He begins to give space to others to keep his own path. With every step, he becomes not just the one who survives, but the one who decides where he will be and where he will not. The sun begins to fall. The day ends. He slows down, listens, chooses a place. Not the first, not the second, the third, where the sound is softer, where the ground is steady. He stays, stands, listens. Night comes. He doesn't move. But now it isn't waiting. It's control. He passes the night without mistakes. Morning comes. He takes a step. And now that step is no longer a chick's. It is the step of an adult. He moves. No one follows him. But no one leads him anymore. The story does not end. It closes its circle, because somewhere ahead he will meet a female, and everything will begin again but from the other side. He takes a step in the morning and no longer searches for where to go. He chooses. The forest no longer feels endless. It has become understandable, not completely but enough to stop moving blindly. He moves slowly, not out of caution, because now speed gives nothing if the direction is right. He goes where there are fewer sounds, fewer tracks, fewer crossings. He moves along the edges of strangers' paths, not entering, not checking, just passing by. He notices fruit, takes it, eats, but doesn't stay. He no longer attaches himself to places. He attaches himself to movement. He keeps going, and then he hears it, Not danger, not a predator. Another sound, heavy, but not threatening. He stops, listens. For a long time. The sound comes again. He takes a step, not back, to the side, then another. He moves into a line where he can see, and he sees. A female cassowary, large, calm. She does not react sharply. She moves. He stands, doesn't approach immediately, waits, watches. She passes by. Almost. He takes one step, stops. She doesn't leave, doesn't speed up. They stand on the same line, not close, but aligned. For a few seconds, no movement, no sound. Then she moves on. He follows, not close, at a distance. He doesn't lead and doesn't follow blindly. He keeps space. They move together, for a while. Then she stops, suddenly. He stops too, watches. She stays. He steps closer, very slowly. No rush, no mistakes. It's a short moment, no conflict, no testing. Just a shared direction. Then she leaves as suddenly as she stopped, without looking back. And he doesn't follow. He stays, because now he already has his path. After some time, he finds a place. Quiet, with firm ground. He stays near it. At first, not knowing why. Then the eggs appear. Several, as before. Because not all will make it further. He stays. Alone, as before. He doesn't leave. Days pass. He barely eats. He sits, listens, waits. Now he is no longer the one who moved forward. Now he is the one who stays still. And this is harder. The shell cracks, the first egg, then the second, then more. The chicks appear, small, unsteady. They fall, stand, move. One of them immediately goes forward, doesn't stop. Pecks at everything, falls, gets up, moves again. It comes too close, receives a push, falls, stands again, and moves forward again. It doesn't know limits. Like before, the adult cassowary watches, doesn't stop it immediately, doesn't protect it from everything. He waits, because he knows every step must be made alone. The chick moves ahead again, too far, too early, and in that movement it is already clear the story didn't end. It simply began again.